Great. And next we have Kuya.
Hey, Kuya P, NRW Nerds Rule the World. Hey, John, it's good to see you again. It's been a while since I saw you in DC and DC. I love this
Been a
film. The
minute.
cinematography was beautiful.
Thank you.
Can you just talk about maybe some of the shot selections, the choices you made in the presentation? I want to live in this world.
Again, thank you very much. And I have an amazing partner that I work with, Ramsey Nichol, who's the DP. I've known him back since American Crime, and he just loves the camera. He really loves both the lighting and the operating. He lights and he operates, and I love working with one person who does all of that. One of the things that I really appreciate about the camera work, I'm glad that you think it was really beautiful, but when you have actors like Cynthia and Leslie, two amazing theater actors who can, they can do the scene and they can do it over and over and they can hit it the same way every time. And that's not an easy thing to do. So there's a moment where Cynthia comes in and Leslie realizes there's something wrong in that house. And he really starts pressing her about Tommy and has he seen her again and what's going on with the relationship. And we do that whole shot. It's, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes of storytelling. In one take, we end up in a close-up of Cynthia, who's just emoting so spot on, just so beautifully at the end of that scene. To me, every time you make a cut, it dissipates the emotion in a scene. Sometimes that's very intentional. You want to break things up. You want to give it a little bit of pace. There are other times where if you can be with an actor and let that scene evolve, that's what you want to do. So to light it beautifully, to get the camera moved, to be able to work with actors who can be repetitive in the best possible sense, repetitive in terms of hitting those marks every single time, why would you not want to dial up a shot that really is experiential and makes it a little bit uncomfortable for the audience? Okay, these two are arguing. I don't know if I want to be here, but you want to be here for that moment. So again, it's working with terrific artisans who understand the intentionality of what we're trying to accomplish and then have the ability to execute it in ways that are beautiful, thoughtful, very emotive, and really underscore everything about the maturity of this filmmaking. And I appreciate all of your questions so far have been complimentary. Not really questions. Some of the questions have been indicative of a complimentary nature of what we try to do as artists.
Kuya.
Hey, John, brilliant cast. I really enjoyed this cast. You did your job casting this amazing cast. Can you talk a little bit about choosing this cast and a character in particular there, or actor I in particular really enjoyed, who I wasn't aware of, Jaden Wong. Her conversations with Leslie Odom's character, wow. So if you could just touch upon the cast and Jaden Wong and Leslie's interactions.
Well, let me start with Jaden since you asked about her. She's just such a phenomenal individual, a terrific actor. Had been on a fairly long-running CBS series. No disrespect to that series, but I don't think they gave her her due. She came in and read and was just spot on in terms of being somebody in a minute. Okay, that's your best friend. As a family member, that's someone you laugh with, you cry with, you argue with, and then you start again the next day and have that same cycle. And her connectivity with Leslie was just, chemistry is key. And I really, really wanted a brother and sister relationship where it was a full relationship in and of itself. And, Jaden had that ability. And I'll certainly say with Leslie, as an actor, as an individual, my wife loves Hamilton. So we saw it a bazillion times. And even seeing Leslie live, being, just feet away from him on a stage, it still doesn't express the level of talent that he has. And I was very fortunate to work with him very early in his film career, but you just see where that's going because he's just that talented. I'll talk about Frida and Orlando real quick. Orlando is, one of the biggest stars out there. When I was trying to do Let It Fall as a narrative, we ended up doing it as a documentary. Orlando reached out to me and sat down with me and was like, I think this story is amazing. I think it's difficult. If I could ever be part of this story, please, I would do anything to be part of it. To have somebody who's that big of a star internationally reach out to me and reach out about a project that was important to me and important in terms of expressing race and relations and where we were and where we are. That was incredibly generous of him. So when this film came along, he was someone I thought would be a perfect Tommy. And it had that range. You know, he starts out and you think he's just this sort of rich a-hole, and then you realize, no, he has dealt with things and has been through things, and he has an emotional core as well. And just an amazing young man, and really enjoyed working with him. Frida I'd worked with in the past, very particularly on Gorilla. I cannot say enough about Frida as an actor, and I cannot say enough about her as a person. You know, she is so cause-oriented, so gracious, out there fighting the fight for representation, gender politics, all of that. So, you know, you have these amazing moments with her on set, and then she's talking about, oh, I got to go do something with Michelle Obama and voters' rights and things like that. And you're just like, she's absolutely amazing. And I adore working with her. And then Cynthia. And Cynthia was, originally the part was written for another actor that I'd worked with and was all set to go. And honestly, about 2 weeks before filming, the other actor, their schedule wasn't going to work and they couldn't do the film. And I was gutted. I was gutted because I knew the person that I was going to work with, had a great relationship with them, professionally speaking, was very excited about it. I didn't know who was going to replace this actor. There's a moment where you think nobody is going to be able to replace them. Met Cynthia on actually it was Skype back in the days when things were Skype and not Zoom. We were in a scout van. She was in New York. We talked for a minute, and I realized that this young lady is her talent, her savvy, her understanding of herself and what she can bring, but still at the same time wanting to really get in and work. And that's my thing with actors, is really getting in and doing the work and going through the processes. It was a phenomenal experience. And where she is now, I am not surprised. I'm just very thankful I had the opportunity to work with her at all. But when this film opens and you see Cynthia, not to give it away for people who have not seen the film yet, but that opening moment, that opening frame, it's weird to look back and to know that I thought for a minute, I'm never going to be able to replace the actor that I was going to work with. In some ways, you know, you can never replace people. It wasn't about replacing anyone. It was finding someone else who brought a fresh take and a fresh perspective and an amazing performance, and then became part of this ensemble that is, frankly, one of the best ensembles I've ever worked with. And I've been fortunate. You know, I have been around some amazing groups of actors. So I think that covers everybody. But yeah, all of them, they're, you know, like you say, man, they're money.
So